Hi there, dear guys and girls. Welcome back once again. For the new subscribers, I'm Petra, and I'm a spiritual life coach and survivor of, in total, 12 years of narcissistic and emotional abuse. So I just like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all your comments in the comment section and for sharing so much of your stories and tips on healing. So this has become, thanks to your contribution as well, this has become a beautiful, warm community for all of those surviving narcissistic abuse. So thank you once again, and for the new subscribers and for the sharing of the videos. And it has just taken on a life of its own. I receive so many emails from all of you, which I'm always grateful for. But of course, due to the amount of emails, I do not always have time to answer straight away. So I am working on it. So if you have again been waiting a while for a response, please know that I am working on that, and I will reply to you as soon as possible. So I today wanted to just make a quick video on the narcissist really loves dishing out criticism, but they are absolutely lousy at swallowing criticism. So I've written down again a few points, and I'd just like to take you through a few. As we all know, when we have dealt with narcissists, or maybe are even still dealing with narcissists in our life, that they are very good at dishing out a lot of criticism. And of course, this won't be in the beginning stages. This will happen somewhere down the line. When you have been in the relationship for a couple of months, couple of weeks, even maybe, that the criticism will start. And they are very quick to criticize the way you look, what you say, what you do, the way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you eat. It doesn't matter what it is, they will criticize that. Sometimes they will just flat out come out and say it, but other times it is very, very, they are very subtle digs that you will get on your person, on the people you hang out with, your jobs, your parenting skills, whatever the case may be. This is a phase that they go into at some point in the relationship, and it just gets progressively worse from there. There is nothing constructive in their criticism. It's all just about bashing you. And this, of course, is, when I think of it now, I can sort of laugh about it. But when you are actually going through it, it is the most destructive and devastating feeling that you can go through when you are criticized on just about anything and everything about yourself. So, it's to just break it down a bit. Why does the narcissist criticize so much? And why can't they accept that same constructive criticism from you? Well, it starts with, most of us wrongly thinking, that the narcissist in our lives is this big person who, has this great projection on a projection of good qualities, of confidence, especially. They come across as being very confident. And I think this is also why we are attracted to them as codependents, is because most times when we have fallen into the narcissistic trap, we have little self-esteem, self-confidence, or none at all. So when we meet this very charismatic person who is larger than life, who produces this facade of being overly confident, of just having all this charm, we fall for that because that is how we see ourselves. That is how we would like to be. So we fall for this. But if you break down that mask, which is what we usually do during the relationship, we cotton on at some point, and we say things to them, we give the critique, we complain about things that they've said or done, and this is what causes the cracks in their mask, sorry. But what it all boils down to, this is the facade that you see of confidence. But beneath that facade, they have very low self-esteem. And this self-esteem comes, of course, from the abuse that they may have endured, because this is not for all narcissists. You know, I think we make the mistake of thinking that a narcissist is developed when coming from a dysfunctional home. It doesn't have to just be the dysfunction in the abuse, in verbal or physical abuse. It can also be the dysfunction in putting this child on a pedestal, making as if they do nothing wrong, you know. So when that is the identity that maybe even a narcissistic parent will give their child, this is when you create this low self-esteem, because they at a subconscious level realize that they are not all that. So in order to cover up those childhood wounds that they have endured during their childhood, they will put on this great facade of being overly confident. But really, what it boils down to is that they have been deprived of acceptance, of acknowledgement, of love, of care in their childhood. And because this is such a deep wound, they can take on this mask, this facade of being overly confident, when really all they are feeling is very low self-esteem. So when they target you as a codependent or as an empath, what they are actually extracting from your energy is the love that you give them, the acknowledgement, the acceptance, all the stuff that they missed, that they were deprived of in their childhood. This is what they try and extract from you. So all that you have been faced with really is their low self-esteem. You know, I think oftentimes we make the mistake of thinking that they have very high self-esteem, but it really is the feeling that they get of being superior, of covering up their low self-esteem by putting on this great big front. So because of their low self-esteem, they are extremely sensitive to critique, to criticism, no matter how small or how big that criticism may be. They feel it very deeply. So they have to maintain this mask of being flawless, of being, you know, some wonderful person with wonderful traits, someone who's very charming and friendly. This is the mask they keep on. It is actually a defense mechanism. It is a way of protecting themselves. Now, you know, we both have this. The codependents and the empaths have it, as well as the narcissist, where we develop a mechanism to protect ourselves. And the narcissist does it through being very mean, being very cruel, saying very hurtful things, criticizing you throughout the relationship. And the codependent does it in a different way. The way we protect ourselves is always wanting to help others. We will always go that extra mile to help someone else. We will always say or try to say the right things in order to make someone feel good, which is what we also do with the narcissist. You know, we are always giving them that acceptance, that acknowledgement, praising them. And this is due to the fact that we are sort of looking for validation, or we are looking for validation from the narcissist. So when you give them that validation, when you acknowledge them, you sort of get that pat on your shoulder and, you know, from them. And that makes us feel good. I mean, that is the you know, the protection that a codependent uses. We like to get that praise from the narcissist as well. The only difference between the narcissist and the codependent is that, is that the codependent is capable of introspection. So when we realize that there are certain things in what we do, in our behavior, that is not being helpful to us. When we are made aware of this, or when we become aware of this, we are able to apply that introspection, and we are able to heal those childhood wounds if we commit to that. And we're also able to correct our behavior, to apply improvement to our behavior patterns. And this is something that a narcissist is incapable of. So what do? Instead of looking inward and correcting their behavior, no, they will shift things around and they will criticize you for everything, as I just mentioned. So what actually happens through this is that essentially the narcissist is stopping you from communicating from authenticity. Because as you know, when we communicate from our authenticity, when we are being real about stuff, when we call them out on stuff, this is something they do not like. So what do we do as codependents? We sort of stop doing that, because we know that if we criticize the narcissist, something that they cannot handle, we will be met, or that criticism will be met with either rage or silent treatment. So we tend to also shut down our communication skills. So what the narcissist has actually done, when they are offering you, or when they give you this criticism, they don't offer it, they give it, they just dish it out left, right and center. When they do this, they are actually forcing you to stop voicing your opinions, your grievances about the relationship that you have with them. And what they actually create is that it is one-sided communication. The communication, destructive communication, is only coming from them. And we, the empaths and codependents, are very afraid to answer them back or to offer them criticism. So yeah, they dish out, but they cannot swallow. So you are at some point stopped in the relationship. You are stopped from being authentic or being real. And your honesty, in some cases, will be the start, the beginning of the end. So that's when you start voicing the criticism, that is when the relationship, in some cases, will start to crumble. Of course, in other cases, you are just devalued and discarded by the narcissist because they find that you are maybe not supplying them for the full 100%. The narcissist has this inability to let down their guard, because what happens in a healthy relationship, when we truly want to get intimate with someone, doesn't matter what kind of relationship that is, when you truly want to be intimate, it is letting your guard down. It is allowing yourself to be vulnerable with that person whom you are involved with. And the narcissist does not have this ability. They do not know true intimacy, because true intimacy involves courage, courage to stand up and take responsibility for your actions. It also involves being vulnerable, to allow the person to see into you. That is what being vulnerable is all about. So when you have two people who are both willing to be vulnerable, to have courage, to show the soft side, to sometimes show their hard side, to show all the stuff in between, that is when you have true intimacy with your partner. But as we all know, the narcissist is not capable of true intimacy. And so what they will do is that they will turn the criticism back onto you, because what they are in fact trying to do is they want to avoid reliving the trauma that they went through in their childhood. So all of us, every single one of us at some point has gone through some form of childhood trauma. So the narcissist and the codependent both feel the same way. They both feel the hurt of being a wounded child. But again, just to repeat myself once again, the codependent is able to apply introspection and we can heal those wounds. The narcissist, on the other hand, will do everything in their power to avoid reliving the criticism that they had as children. And that is why they turn it back onto us. That is also why they will not accept even the slightest bit of criticism from us. And as we all know, it is impossible to maintain a healthy relationship when you are not able to offer the other constructive feedback or criticism. If there is no room for that in the relationship, then there is also no room for growth in the relationship. And as we all know, a relationship with a narcissist does not involve growth, positive growth. It is just pure destruction. There is no growth when going through a relationship with a narcissist. Absolutely none whatsoever. You know, this is also, as I just mentioned, where the narcissist cannot truly experience true intimacy, because to do that you have to express courage and vulnerability. This is also the same reason that it makes it so easy for them to just step out of a marriage or relationship that has maybe sometimes lasted for decades. They can step out of that, leave that relationship, and they just continue on to the next relationship. So they have the next target that they go after. And this is a question that I so often receive in my practice when working with survivors of narcissistic abuse. The question is, how could my spouse or my partner, whom I thought would be a lifelong partner, how could they just leave the relationship and move on to the next relationship? This is the reason why. Because they do not feel that true intimacy, true courage, true vulnerability. Narcissists are cowards. They are cowards and they are bullies. That is why they criticize you all the time. This is why they cannot form healthy relationships. So if you too are wondering why your spouse or partner can just up and leave and move on to the next relationship in their life, this is the reason why. So do not beat yourself up about it. You know, when you have been involved in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, you have come to them from a place of integrity and authenticity. You truly love them. You truly want this relationship to last a lifetime. But just know that this is something that they are quite incapable of doing. So as long as you remember that you are the one who has the strength, the courage, the perseverance, the resilience to make things better once you have come out of this abusive relationship, when you recognize that and when you take those very strong tools and work with them in your life, you will find that at some point you will be able to move forward when you've given yourself time to grieve, when you have stopped internalizing all the criticism that was put onto you through the narcissist. Just remember that your life and that your purpose in this life is so much bigger than the abuse that you have been through. I believe that everyone can recover from narcissistic abuse. So do not despair. I know it is difficult when coming out of this relationship. I know how heart-wrenching it can be, all the questions you have, all the closure that you want. But that is something that you will not receive from the narcissist. That is something that you have to get for yourself. So stop internalizing that criticism. They can dish it out. The narcissist can dish it out, but they just cannot swallow it. That is just a given. So I hope this has answered, maybe for a small part, questions on why the narcissist dishes out but doesn't swallow. I trust that you know, you can relate to some of this. Please feel free to share your bits of story down below, and you know, help others through this healing journey and help yourself as well at the same time. Thank you once again for watching, and take care of yourselves. I haven't forgotten that I'm going to make a second part on the question and answer video. I will get back to it this time. or sometime this weekend. Take care of yourselves and just love yourself through this. You will get through this. Bye for now. See you all next time.